Hi, I'm Jonathan Chiswick, founder of TrueNorth Career Partners. If you're here, there's a good chance you're a few months into a job search that isn't going exactly as you expected. You're putting in the work, you're tweaking your resume, you're applying, maybe you're even getting some initial conversations, but something isn't working and you're not entirely sure what. Well, that feeling is more common than you'd think, and it's exactly why I started TrueNorth Career Partners. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the TrueNorth Career Method, what it is, how it works, and results my clients have gotten. If it resonates with you, let's connect. All right, let's dive in. The TrueNorth Career Method is built around one goal: helping ambitious professionals find clarity, execute with confidence, and land the role they actually want, typically within 90 days. Clients I've worked with have landed at companies like Dell, Microsoft, Amazon, and a number of high growth VC-backed startups. But before I get into the how, let me tell you a little bit about where this comes from. I've spent 20 plus years in the tech industry, across functions, across company sizes, and across more career pivots than most people would attempt. I started as an automotive engineer, moved into brand marketing, then product management, business development, sales, and eventually entrepreneurship. Along the way, I made the jump from retail to tech, from large companies like Dell and Samsung to early stage Silicon Valley startups. Each time, I had to figure out how to sell myself into a world that didn't immediately see why I belonged there. The hardware guy who wants to work in semiconductors, the big company executive who wants to join a startup, the PM who wants to move into partnerships. Those aren't impossible transitions, but you have to know how to make the case for yourself. And most people don't have a system for doing that. I also navigated two of the harder job markets of the last 25 years. I finished my MBA right after the dot-com collapse on September 11th and spent several months networking my way to my first post-MBA role. Then during the financial crisis, I networked my way from Dell to a role in Silicon Valley. What I learned from those experiences and what's guided every pivot since is that networking compounds. The connections you make don't expire. People you met a decade ago resurface at exactly the right moment in ways you could never have predicted. Building that discipline early changes everything. That's the foundation the TrueNorth Career Method is built on. I've now coached over 200 professionals through job searches and career transitions. MBA students from programs like Berkeley Haas and UT McCombs, executives moving into tech, leaders navigating pivots into startups. The through line is always the same: get clear, get strategic, and get in front of the right people. This is what I hear most often from people when they first reach out to me. They've been applying, sometimes for months, and not getting the traction they expected. They're relying on easy apply and job board submissions, hoping volume will eventually work. They're tweaking their resume and LinkedIn profile, but not really changing their approach. They know they should be networking, but they don't have a disciplined system for it. And some of them are getting early interviews, but stalling out before they get an offer. The frustrating part is that these are capable, accomplished people. The problem usually isn't their experience. It's that they're not positioning themselves clearly, or they're not reaching the right people, or both. But here's how we fix that. The TrueNorth method has 5 phases. We start with the TrueNorth blueprint, getting absolute clarity on your target. Not a vague direction, but a specific list of roles and companies that align with where you're headed and what you bring. From there, we move into strategic positioning, converting your experience into a story that speaks the language of recruiters and hiring managers at the companies you actually want to work for. This is where most people are losing ground without realizing it. Then the connection engine. This is where we bypass the black hole of online applications entirely and build a systemic networking strategy that unlocks the hidden job market. Most of the best roles never get posted publicly. Or if they do, there's already a short list of finalists before you ever see the posting. You need to be in the room before the job exists. Performance mastery is your interview preparation, not just the mechanics, but how to lead a high stakes conversation and deliver a narrative that wins. And finally, the closer, negotiating your offer, landing your true market value, and walking in with a 90-day plan. I'll let a few clients speak to what this actually looks like in practice. Cody, a sales executive, came to me needing a clear strategy for his next career move. We worked on his positioning and execution, and he landed a role at EAC. He said the framework was the key factor in navigating a competitive tech landscape. Mark, a go-to-market leader, had been stuck in his search for months. We identified the right opportunity. I made direct introductions to the hiring team and coached him to the finish line. He sent me several referrals since. And Bing was navigating a pivot from product management to product marketing during her MBA. She needed clarity on how to combine her technical background and business acumen into a story that fit. She successfully made the jump and landed her dream role after graduation. In terms of how we work together, the TrueNorth Signature is my flagship program, a 3-month partnership built to take you from career fog to signed offer, with consistent momentum the whole way through. It includes everything: weekly strategy sessions, co-authoring your professional narrative, networking outreach, interview prep, and a finish line commitment that doesn't end until you have a signed offer. Here's what I know to be true. The professionals who get where they want to go fastest are the ones who stop trying to go it alone and get a guide who's been there. I've lived these career pivots. I've navigated these markets, and I've built a method out of what actually works. Not theory, not generic advice. So if you're a few months in and not getting the traction you expected and want to understand why, let's talk. There's a link to book a call right here. It's a real conversation, not a sales pitch. We'll figure out whether working together makes sense. I'm looking forward to speaking with you.